In the last session, what we have discussed about difference between find element and find elements, and also we have discussed about the locator CSS selector. So what are the different ways that we can write a CSS selector? Okay. So today we are going to discuss about WebElement commands. Okay. On a WebElement, till now, what are the different operations that we have performed? We performed send keys, where we can enter a text on a text box, and also we clicked on a links. Okay, these two operations that we have performed. Apart from this, we can do many other things. Those are called WebElement commands. Different commands that we can use on a WebElement. Okay, once we identify an WebElement, so we can do different other operations, different other commands that we can make use, and what are the uses of those commands. So we have to know. Those are called as WebElement commands. Okay, so there are different types of WebElements commands are there, as you can see on the screen. Okay, as of now we have seen only send keys and click. Okay, where send keys will be there, useful to enter some text, whatever the text that you provided inside the send keys method, that will be entered into the corresponding web element. And also click method. What click method will do? It will click on any link on any button once you identify. Okay, the next one is clear. Clear command. So what clear command will do? So if you enter any text on the text box, you are using send keys. If you want to clear the text which you entered on the text box, you have to use clear command. Okay. So once you enter, if you want to clear all the fields, there are multiple text fields are there. You entered all the fields. You want to clear everything and you want to enter again few more data. So then you have to use clear command to clear the data. You have to find the element and you have to use clear command. Okay, we will see that how we can do. For that purpose, I'm going to take an application again. Let me take this orange HRM. Okay, guys, this is a website, demo website that you can use for your testing purpose. Okay. So let's say there is a username field where I want to enter admin, right? I want to clear it. So normally, manually, if I want to clear, I want to click on backspace, right? But here we have to use admin, a clear command. Okay, once I enter admin, I want to clear this. This is my scenario. So how to do this? You will see. Let me create a package. I'll name it as WebElement commands. Okay, I am creating class inside this. Okay, so inside the main, I'm going to use the existing code to open the website. So what is the code that we are using till now? We are using this command where we have to create a Chrome driver object and then we have to maximize the window, and using driver.get we can open the website. So now this is my website I want to open. Just copy this and replace this website. Now once I open this, I want to enter some text inside this text box, right? Username. So I want to inspect this, right click and inspect. Okay. So where we have an ID called text username, I'm going to use the ID directly. So now driver dot find element. Just a second, guys. Okay. So driver dot find element by dot ID in the double quotes. Copy the corresponding ID value. This one, right? Text username. This is it. That's it. I'm not going to send like this because I want to do multiple things, not only send case. If I use send case here only, I want to write this complete statement again and again. Instead of this, when I use find element method, what is the return type of find element? Web element. Web element. You have to remember. Okay. So web element. So what is this web element name? I can give any name here. So what is the name? This is a username field, FLD shortcut, username field. I want to import this web element from org.openqi.selenium. Now using this username, this web element, right? Using this reference variable, I want to send some post. Okay, I want to send admin. Okay, once I enter the text, I want to clear the text in the same element. Use clear command. Okay, first I am entering this text using the send case. Now I'm clearing the corresponding text, whatever I have entered. So to clear any text within the text field, okay, you have to use clear command. That's it. So I just want to wait for some time. It will happen immediately. Cannot see entering and clearing. So that I'm giving some time here, wait time, so that we can clearly see if it is clearing or not. So how much time I want to wait? After entering admin, I want to wait for 10 seconds. 10 seconds I want to wait. Now we have to use thread dot sleep. Okay. Where inside you need to provide seconds, milliseconds, not seconds. Okay. 1000 milliseconds is equal to 1 second, which means if you want to provide 10 seconds, 10 into 1000, 10,000. 10,000 milliseconds, which is nothing but 10 seconds you want to wait, and then you want to clear the text. It will throw a checked exception. Just add throws declaration at the method level. Okay. So now that's it. I'm entering the text admin. I'm waiting for 10 seconds, and then I'm clearing the text. Let me run this. What exactly happens, we'll see. It entered the text already. Okay, it's waiting for 10 seconds. It cleared the text. Okay. So this is how clear command will be useful. Clear command is used to clear the text inside a text box. That's it. Okay. The next one. Huh? Where? Dot send keys. Both are same. Again, you have to write driver.find element by dot text username dot clear. That is not the correct way. Okay. This complete statement will give a web element. If you're using dot send keys here, what exactly happening? The complete statement is giving a web element. Inside on the web element, you're performing dot send keys. This is also same. You're storing it in a web element. On the web element, you're sending send keys. Both are technically same. Okay. If you write like this, if you store it in a web element, you can reuse the web element again and again. No need to write driver.find element. No need to find again and again. Okay. So this is about the clear command. So send key is done. Clear done. Click also we know. Okay. Now get attribute. Get attribute. So get attribute inside we have to pass some string value here by looking at the method itself. Clear and click commands doesn't accept any parameters. No need to send any parameters. Send keys we have to send some parameters, some text which we want to enter. Here get attribute also is accepting some parameters. What exactly the get attribute means? What is the usage of this? When we use on web element, what exactly happens? So we will see that. Okay. Now let's say there are web elements are there. Okay. So what is an attributes here? Normally, if you talk about this input field, what are the different attributes are present? We have name, we have ID, we have type. These are the attributes. So the method itself is saying that get attribute. Okay. Here we have to pass the attribute name. Inside the get attribute, it will give the corresponding attribute value. If you use get attribute of text username, get attribute of name, it will give the text username. If you use get attribute of ID, it will give the text username. Get attribute of type, it will give text. For any attribute, if you want to know what value you got stored, you can use get attribute method on that particular element. Find this element and use get attribute of the corresponding attribute name you provide, and you will get the corresponding attribute value. Okay, that is the uses of get attribute. So we will see that what exactly happens. Okay. Just a second. So I'm going to use this code. I want to find this element link, forgot your password link. Okay. This link I want to identify. So this is a link where it starts with the anchor tag. This is a link where we have a certain text, visible text, which is visible on the web page. And also we have a href attribute. Okay. Href attribute is the link where we are navigate when we click on this link. Okay. So I want to get the href attribute value. What value, what website are you going to navigate when I click on this link? Which URL I'm navigating? Clear? Any question? Confusion? Okay. When I click on this forgot password link, I want to know to which link it is navigating. Okay. So the link will be available under href. I want to get the href attribute. So in this case, first I need to identify this element and get attribute of href. I'll get the link. Okay, that's what I want to do. So what I'm going to do is, as of now, I'm commenting out this line, this code. Okay. So I want to identify the element. So my scenario is simple. I want to identify this link and I want to know href value. What value it is present under href. I have to use get attribute of href. The corresponding value I get. Okay. So first I'm going to identify this link. Okay. So how to identify driver dot find element y dot. I can use link text or partial link text because something we are dealing with links. Okay, I'm going to use link text. In the double quotes, okay, you need to pass the complete link text if you're using link text. Okay, now this I'm going to store it in a web element because find element will give a web element. This is a forgot password link. I'm naming it like this. Whatever the name you want, you can name it. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I want the attribute of href. What value is stored under href. So I want to use forget password dot get attribute. Okay, get attribute I need to use. Inside the get attribute, what I need to provide? Which attribute value I want? Huh? Href attribute value I want. Okay, so here I need to provide href inside the double quotes. Okay, now this complete statement, what it will give? It will give the corresponding value of href. This is a string again. It will give a string value. What value the get attribute will give? If you put your mouse on the get attribute, you will come to know what value it is giving. It is giving a string of that particular link. Okay. So now I can store this in a string. Href value. This is a value. Href value. Inside the href attribute, I got the corresponding value that I'm storing it in a string. Now I want to print this string. So I'll get what kind of value we got. Okay. I'm identifying the link. And on the link, I'm trying to get an attribute, href attribute value. That's it. So this complete statement will give us a string value. That is the reason I have stored it in a string. So I got the corresponding href value. This particular link I got. Not from the slash I'll get. So I'll get from the beginning, as far as I know. Okay, we'll see that, how we can get. So run as. Okay, I think it's done. Okay, we got this link. Okay, so this is a href value inside the href. If you see here, It is there from index only. It is there till index only. So what about this? This is the base URL that they will configure. Okay, if you put your mouse on this itself, it will show the complete link from HTTPS, open source, something like that. The complete link you will get. Okay, so ultimately, what our scenario, you can get the value of any attribute, not only href. You can identify any element. For any element, we have multiple attributes. Any attribute value, you can get it. Okay. Clear? Any questions with respect to get attribute? Inside the get attribute, provide the attribute name, you will get the attribute value as a string. That's it. Any questions, guys? Guys, any questions?
No,
Or
sir.
listening online?
No, sir.
Please
No, sir.
respond. Okay. Just a second, guys. Okay. Now the next one is get CSS value. Okay. So what is get CSS value? So before going to learn about get CSS value, we should know some concept. Okay. So what is meant by CSS? So normally in any website, right? So they are designing this way. So when we are designing HTML, everything in a plain black color only, right? We don't have these colors. This red color, we don't have nothing we have. So as part of HTML, we are going to design this. And if you want to color it, if you want to color, if you want to specify the font name, font size, all these things you are doing as part of CSS. Okay, HTML is to design the website, and CSS also is to design the web page, but you can provide different color, what color you want, what font size you want, what font family. Okay, you want different kind of properties that we can give for elements. Okay, that is called a CSS. So those properties values we can get using get CSS value. We can give directly using style attribute. We can give, but they're not giving like that directly. Sometimes they're maintaining a separate sheet called CSS sheet. So there they are providing. So anyway, whether they're providing for elements in the HTML or if they're providing separately, so they're going to design the colors and then font family, font size, different kind of details they will give. Okay, so that's the reason we're able to see like this much beautiful kind of. Okay, not only like plain English, but not plain color, black color kind of. So if you want to know what are the properties that they have provided, so you provide the property name, if you provide the property color, and you'll get the color value. Okay, similarly. So how to see those CSS properties for any web element? For any element, we have those properties. If we consider this web element, we have certain properties. If we consider this login panel, we have certain properties. This particular username field will have certain properties, CSS properties, where we can see those. So for this, right click on a web page, inspect, right? Okay. Okay, expand this like something like this. Just a second. Okay. If you see, we have a styles tab here. So not this one, not elements. Okay. Here we have below styles tab is there. Okay. Expand this tab, right? Drag here. So these are the style tab. Now let's say I want to identify this login panel. So what is the color? Color is black. For every color, we have a certain code. So this code represents a black color. So for green, we have a certain code. For red, we have a certain code. Okay, this code will be there. Okay, they can give in different format. This is one format that they're giving in this code. Or else they can give in RGB format. The other format will be there. There are different formats they can specify. Based on the code that they are giving, it represents the corresponding color. That's it. Okay, for every color, we have a certain code. And also, we have a font family. Okay, how exactly that should display the font. Okay, what is the font size? 15 pixels. So normally font size, everything will be in pixels. If you increase this font size, if you see here, it is getting increased. See, I'm increasing this. I'm just moving my mouse like this. 35, 41, 48. Okay, I can increase the font. In this way, they're providing different properties for each and every element, web element. Okay, if I refresh the page, again, it will come to the default. Okay, you can play with it, not a problem. Okay, it won't change at all. Whatever the code that you have written default, the code will come and you refresh the page. Okay, so font weight also they will give bold. Okay, the letter should be appear in bold color, or else you can give normal also. See, it is not in bold color now. If you put bold, it will be thicker. Okay, this particular login panel. In this way, they are going to give different properties. These are called CSS properties. So if you provide property name, you'll get the corresponding property value. Okay, using this method, get CSS value. Inside this, you provide the property name, you will get the corresponding property value. How exactly? How we are doing with attribute. Provide the attribute name, you will get the attribute value for the web element. Similarly, provide the CSS property name, you will get the corresponding CSS property value. Hope everyone clear. Okay. So now, let us see the color of this login panel. Okay, what color we got? So how to do? So let me write the code. Let me comment this. Okay. Let me identify the web element. So what is this? Label login, something like this. Okay. And then driver dot find element by dot id. We have id. Okay. By dot id. Okay. This is the login label. This capital E. Web element W capital E capital. Now using this web element, I want to know the property of color. What color they have given. So login dot get CSS value. This method you have to use for this web element. If you click on this web element, the corresponding CSS properties also will load. So that will highlight, and also corresponding CSS styles also it will load. Okay. See here now I'm going to click on this username. Again this will change. Right? If you click on this login panel, this will change. The corresponding login panel, whatever that we are highlighting, right? We are selecting, those properties will display. Now for this login panel, for this web element, I want to get the CSS value of color. What is the property? COLOR, color, not COLOUR. COLOR. Okay, this is American accent kind of. So now color we need to provide. This complete statement will give us the corresponding color. Not this ID, there is one more notation will be there, RGB format. That is also a color notation when we're designing CSS. That we will get. Okay. Now this we can store it in this complete statement will give us again a string. Okay. If you put your mouse and get CSS value, you'll get what it will give. It will give a string. So we can store it in a string. Label login color. Okay. I'm naming like this. I just want to print this out. You'll get the corresponding color code. Okay, now let me run this. Okay, executed. Let me close this. Okay, this is the format for color RGBA notation 0, 0, 0 and 1 for black. Okay, if you want to know what color it is exactly, open your browser and copy this and enter. Okay, then you will get CSS colors. Let me open this. Just a second, I will show you what exactly the color means. It's a black RGB 000. So forget about one. We'll have a 1 point. I think by default A will be 1. RGB 000. It is a black color. Okay. We got the corresponding RGB value, which is nothing but black. Now I want to see other values. Now I want to see the font family. copy this, and I'm going to use again here. I'm going to use the font family. What font family that is? Okay. So
So your voice is not audible.
this
Hello. So I can't hear you.
Sir, your voice is not coming out. We can't hear you, sir.
hey, hi everyone. Can you hear me? Internet was gone. So sorry for.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Hope everyone can see my screen as well.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now I printed previously the color, right? Hope everyone can see there. Now I want to print the font family. So what I did, I just copied the font family, the corresponding CSS property name, and I want to print the corresponding CSS property value using the get CSS value. I'll get the corresponding CSS property value. Now let me run this. Okay, I think that's done. Okay, we got the color for black, notation for black, and then sans serif. That is the font family. Similarly, you can get the font size as well. So any property, whatever the properties that you have. Yeah. So in this way, we can get the corresponding property value, CSS property value. Hope everyone clear with respect to CSS property, CSS value.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the next one is get location. Okay, what like get location will do. Okay. So normally, when you talk about any website, the location that you have to talk in a x and y axis. For any web element, there is a x axis and there is a y axis. That too, we have to talk in a pixels. How many pixels of x axis? How many pixels of y axis? Okay. Normally, any website. Let me take a whiteboard. Let's say this is my website. Okay. So where my URL contains here. Okay, here my URL contains. Okay, here I have a left arrow, right arrow. Here I have URL, HTTP, something like that. This is my website inside. So normally this is the point where the x-axis will be 0 and y-axis will be 0 pixels. If I go like this horizontally, the x-axis will increase. Normally horizontal represents x-axis, right? So when we move like this, okay, when we move like this, the x-axis will increase. When we move vertically, the y-axis will increase. Let's say there is a point, there is a web element here. Let's say username. So username, the starting point here, this particular point. So if you talk about the location, you will get the x and y axis both. Okay. So what is the x and y axis for this particular element? Okay. So now if we go horizontally, let's say it's starting from 0 and let's say there is a 200 here at this particular point. X axis is 200. And when we talk about y axis, this is a y axis point. The y-axis will be 150. So the location of this username field, which is nothing but the starting you have to take. So the location of this username field will be 200 pixels, comma 150 pixels. Okay. So the starting value of the browser will be 0 and 0 pixels. When we move horizontally, it will increase the pixels slowly. And then in vertically, it will increase the y-axis. Horizontal represents x-axis and vertical represents the y-axis. The location will be shown in a pixel format. How many pixels of x-axis, how many pixels of y-axis. Okay, for any element, we have a certain location based on x and y-axis. Okay, using this particular method, get location, we can get the x-axis and y-axis. Okay, so now I want to see the location of this particular username. So this particular location I want to see where it is located. What is the x-axis? What is the y-axis? Using get location, we can do that. So what exactly I'm going to do it now? I'm going to first find the element. What is the element for username? So this is the code to identify the username field, correct? So once I identify the username field, I want to know the location. Here in the location, you don't need to provide anything value. So when you use on the element get location, it will be the corresponding location. Okay. So username field, I want to know the username field location, get location. Okay. Get location. So where we need to store, what exactly get location will give. How to know? You just need to put your mouse on get location. Just put your mouse on get location. It is giving a point. Point contains both x and y axis. Okay. Just you need to store it in a point. Name it as username location. Here point you need to import. Okay, this is a new class kind of. Okay, we need to import this org.openqa.selenium. Import point from, put your mouse on the point and import from org.openqa.selenium. This particular username location, this point. So point contains both at x and y axis. The point is nothing but it's a combination of x and y axis. Both will be there. It's a point. So using this reference variable, we can know the x axis and we can know the y axis of this particular web element. So now I want to print the x axis and I want to print the y axis. So what I'm going to do is, so x axis and y axis both will be in a pixel format, that is fine. So that will be integer. Okay. So now username location dot get x. Okay, what get x will do? Integer. Integer of x axis. How much? It is a 200 or 150 pixels, 200 pixels, whatever the integer value. We can store it in int, or else we can directly print out. Anything is fine. Okay. So int x axis, something like this I'm storing. Similarly, using this point location only, I'm going to get the, location only, I'm going to get the y axis also, both x and y axis. This I'm going to store it in a some name I'm giving, y axis. Okay, now I can print it out. So I'm printing like this, x axis is space, using plus I'm going to add integer. For a string you can add integer like this. First provide integer and then using plus symbol you can add. The complete will be like integer only. Okay, x axis is space and you're going to print the corresponding value. Similarly, you can print the y axis also. Y axis is, okay. Now we'll get both x and y axis of username field, where exactly it is located. Let me run this. Okay. X is 713, y is 368. Obviously, x is 7, that x axis is more when compared to y axis. Okay, y axis is here only. but x-axis is long when compared to y-axis. So that is the reason x is 713 and y-axis is 368. This is the location of username field 713, 368. For any web element, you can see the location of web element. That's it. The next one is get size. So location, we got the location where exactly it is located in the complete web page from the 002 what exactly the location of the web element. Now, what is get size will do? Get size will give us the width and height of the web element. Let's say there is a username field again, right? For any web element, let's take a button or username, anything you take. So let's take a username field. So there is a certain width is there, certain height is there, right? So we can know the width and height again in a pixels. What is the width? What is the height? Using get size, we can know the size of any web element, width and height of any web element. Clear, everyone? Clear, right? Okay.
Yes.
Now let us use the same web element. Okay. Username field only. You can try it out on any buttons or something like this. I'm going to use in username only. So this is the username. Using username field, what I'm going to do is get size. This doesn't accept any parameters. Okay. Like how you use get location, similarly you can use get size, where you can get the width and height of any web element. So what get size will give? Previously, that is giving us a point x and y axis. Now what this will give? The size. It will give a dimension. What is the dimension? Width, the height, that we call it the dimensions only, right? So this will give a dimension. They name it like this. So we have to store it in a dimension. Username size. Some name I'm giving. So this dimension again we have to import from org.openqa.selenium. Okay. So this diamond contains the width and height of the username field. Using this username size, okay. Using username size, you have to use get width. Okay. Similarly, using the same username size, you can note the get height and height of that particular element. So now again these two will give us a integer values. Okay. Now I'm not going to store in integer values. I'm directly using the system.out and println statement. Okay. So what I'm doing is with this plus I'm going to copy the complete statement. Don't put semicolon here. Okay. After get width. So semicolon you have to give at the end of the statement only. Okay. And then copying the same thing. Height is copy the height. This will give us a height. That's it. So this will give the both width and height of a username field. Width is 232, height is 16. Okay. Width is 232. Obviously, width will be high, right? When compared to height. So width is 232, height is 16. That's it. So get location will give us the location. Get size will give us the size of the web element. The next one, get tag name. Okay, what get tag name will give? By the name itself, we can know what exactly it is giving. For any web element, once you identify, if you use get tag name on that particular web element, what it will give? Get tag name. By the name itself, we can say what it will give. The name of the tag for the corresponding element. Okay, so let us see what exactly get tag name. So what is the tag name for this textual text box? Input, correct? So if you use get, if you want to know the what is the tag name, you have to use get tag name. Okay. It will not accept any parameters. If you use on any web element, if you use get tag name, the corresponding tag name of the element. It could be input, it could be button, it could be a, whatever it is. So I directly print it out. I'm not storing this in a string. Again, this will give us a string. I'm not storing in a string. I'm just printing it out here only. Okay. So let me run this and see what exactly it is giving. Okay, that's done. Okay. What is the tag name? Input. Okay. You can get the tag name of any web element using the get tag name method. Okay, using get tag name. Okay. The next one is get text. What get text will give? Get text will give us the visible text of that particular element. Okay, visible text. What is the text that we can see on the website for that particular element? That particular text we'll get when you use get text method on any web element. Okay. So we'll see get text, how we can get the text of any web element. So what is the visible text that we can see? For username, this is a visible text. This is a login panel is a visible text. Forget your password is a visible text. Okay. So here we have a visible text login. Okay. Whatever the text that we can see on the web page, that is a visible text. Using get text method, once you identify the element, use get text method so that you can get the text of that particular element, visible text. So let me right click on this particular login button. So there is a value login. So just a second. So normally visible text will be like in between the tags you will see mostly. So let me take this login panel. Okay. So here, if you see login panel, so this is a div element where ID is this one, and in between the tag div and div there is a login panel. So which is the visible text of this particular element. Okay. If we use ID here, right, and then if we call the get text method, once we identify this element, then we'll get the login panel text. Okay. Let us try to identify this web element first. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to identify this login label. So get text is a very important method. Okay, we frequently use it. So use get text. So what get text will do? It will give us a visible text in a string format. Okay, though we can store it in a string. Label. I'm storing in label text. The complete get text method will give us a string. Okay, and I can print out the string. Let me run this and see what exactly it will print. It will print the visible text. What is the visible text here? Login panel is a visible text which is present in between the tags. Okay, this is the starting tag and this is the ending tag. In between, we have certain text. Let me run this. Okay, it's done. You see here, we got the corresponding text. So get text method will give us the visible text of any web element if it is there. Okay. Let us try to apply on the username. Is there any visible text for username? No, it won't give anything. Let us try to do that. Okay. So let me copy. Okay. For the username field, I'm using get text method. Okay. So we'll see what exactly happens. Nothing will happen. Okay. There is no visible text at all for the username field. Okay. Nothing got. It's an empty string. Okay. Empty. Nothing we got. Now let us try to apply the same thing for button. What we'll get for button? Login you'll get. We will see. So, but the ID ID, I'm changing this only. So, button login ID, I'm going to identify this username. This is a button, login button. Login button dot get text. Okay. Now let me run this. Did you get anything? No. So why you said login? So if you can see, doesn't matter that is a visible text. This is inside the tag. Okay, not in between the tag. Okay. Normally the visible text means which is present should be in between the tag. So this is a login which is inside the button, not the particular text value in between the tag. If you see this particular username, okay, okay, so this is inside the span tag. This is the starting span tag and this is the ending span tag. In between this, once I close the starting span tag, before ending the span, in between I have some text. This is the visible text. Okay, using get text method, we'll get the visible text. Hope everyone clear. The next one is displayed. What is displayed will do. By the name itself, we can say this we can apply on where we can apply on a web element only, right? So what is it saying is displayed, whether the element is displayed or not. Yes or no, true or false. So this will give a Boolean value. If it displayed, it is true. If it is not displayed, false. For any web element, you can use this is displayed method on any web element. This will give a Boolean value, true or false. If the element is displayed on the web page where we can see it, you will get a true. If it is not displayed, you will get a false. Okay. So now let us see this. First, we will see on this username. Username field is displayed on the web page or not. We can see the username field or not. You can see this login panel or not. You can see this button or not. If you apply is displayed method on these things, you will get a true as an output. Okay, so we will see that. So let us see on this login button. The same login button I'm trying to use. Login button dot is displayed. Okay, so this complete is displayed will give us a true or false. If you put your mouse on the is displayed, it will give a Boolean value. You can store it in a Boolean value. If you want to store, where you want to store, you can store it in a Boolean value. Or else I'm trying to print it out here only inside the system.out.println statement. So what it will give now, what it will print? This complete statement will give us true because that is displayed. So let me run this. Execution is done. Okay. True. Any web element, if you can see it on the web page, if it is displayed on the web page, you will get a true as an output. Some elements are hidden where we cannot see it on the web page. If you apply is displayed on those elements, as they are not displayed on the web page, but they are in the HTML code, they will present in HTML, but they are hidden where you cannot see those elements on the web page. So for those elements, if apply is displayed, you will get a false as an output because they are not displayed on the web page where we cannot see. Okay. So let us give that example. So there are many elements, hidden elements. So this is an input element type hidden, not type text, not type password, type hidden, which is nothing but this element is hidden from the website where we cannot see that element. If you put your mouse on this element, there is nothing getting highlighted in the web page because that is hidden. So there are multiple hidden elements are there. So there are two hidden elements are there. Okay. So this is also one more hidden element. Now I'm going to identify this using this particular ID, this hidden element, where type is hidden. This element is not displayed on the web page. This is a hidden element. It is present in the HTML. It is present in the document structure, but still it is not displayed on the web page. I'll apply is displayed on this particular element. Let me copy this ID. Driver dot find element by dot ID. So this is a element where ID which is hidden. Nowhere it is displayed on the website. I'm going to store it in some web element. Some name I'm giving. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use element dot is displayed. I just want to know whether it is displayed or not. Let me run this. So let me close this. We get a false as an output because the element is not displayed on the web page. So this is about is displayed. Any questions? The next one is enabled. What is enabled will do. First, we have to know what is enabled element, what is disabled element. Then we can know what is enabled will give us. Okay. So let me open another website. Same website. Let me open. Let me open admin. Admin 123. I'm logging into the website. I'm going to my info. Okay. If you see there are multiple text boxes are present, can you edit these text boxes? No. Okay. Because these are disabled. Okay. If this is enabled, then we can enter, then you can perform any action on these elements. On the enabled elements only, we can perform actions. On the disabled elements, we cannot perform any action. Okay. Enabled means where will be shown as normal, where we can perform certain action. Disabled means they will be shown as gray color. How it is showing as a gray color now. I can enable this. I can, if I click on edit, these will be enabled. If I click on edit, those will be displayed as white color. So normally disabled elements are grayed out, where we cannot perform any action. Enabled elements are normal elements where we can see and where we can enter any text. Hope everyone clear about the enabled and disabled. Okay. So if you use is enabled on any web element, if that is enabled, okay, where we can perform any action, that will give us a true. If it is disabled, okay, which means if it is not enabled, which means it is disabled, where we cannot perform any action, is enabled will give us false. Simple. If it is enabled, it will give us true. If it is not enabled, it will give us false. So let me open this website. Okay. So I'm going to create one more class. Okay. I'm copy the same code. Okay. Now once I open the website, I need to log in, correct? So how to log in? So driver dot find element by dot ID, where I want to enter username. Similarly, password I need to enter. Similarly, I need to click on the button. Hopefully, you should have all the IDs for all these elements. Okay, I'm going to edit it again. So let me open this, inspect. So ID is there for username. I'm going to enter the text admin. Okay, so this is the username and password. They have given already. Username is admin, password is admin123. Okay, for password, there is ID text.txt password where I'm going to enter the admin23. Now I want to click on this login button where ID is equal to button login. I clicked on this. So once I log in, admin123. Once I click on login, I want to click on my info. Okay, correct. I want to click on my info. This is a link for my info where I have ID also for to click on my info. So what I'm doing, driver dot find element by dot ID dot click. Okay, I can use. Okay, there is ID only for this element. Again, we have this particular text my info. So directly I'm going to use ID. Okay, so click on my info. Now we have to know whether this is enabled or disabled. I want to identify this first name. To identify first name, I have ID. Okay, what I'm going to do is, so driver dot find element by dot ID. Under the my info, okay, so this is the ID. This I'm storing it in a web element. So no need to store in web element also. You can directly use is and dot is enabled also because this is the identification of web element. Once you identify the web element, you can perform dot any action you can perform. Dot send keys, dot click, dot is enabled, anything. But it's not a good practice to do that. So let us store that element first name. Now I want to know whether that is enabled or not. First, I want to import web element from org.openGate.selenium. So first name dot is enabled. This much code I need to write to show that example. Okay, that's fine. So what we'll get once we open my info and once we click on is enabled, what it will give, true or false? False, because that is not enabled. Correct. So let me run this. Okay, we got navigated till here. We got a false as an output. Now, before checking this is enabled or not, now let me click on edit and then I will check. So then that is enabled, right? Then we will get a option as true. So let me inspect this edit and save. Before identifying this web element itself, I'm clicking on edit button. So driver dot find element by dot ID dot click. I'm clicking on edit button. Then I'm trying to identify the first name, this particular first name, and then I'm trying to check whether that is enabled or not. So when you click on edit, obviously that will be enabled. So let me run this. Opening the application, entering the username and password, click on login button, click on my info, click on edit, check whether that is enabled or not. Obviously that will be enabled, where we can perform some action. True, it is enabled. Hope everyone clear about enabled. Okay, we discussed all these things. And the next one is selected. So this I'm going to tell in the next session. Okay, when we are discussing about checkboxes and radar buttons. Okay, I'm not going to discuss now. The last one is submit. So what submit will do? It will work same as clicking on login button. Okay, but submit button, submit this particular method when you can use on forms. You can use on login forms. So normally the login forms, usernames, passwords, all this kind of stuff. Right? Let me log out and I will show you. Let's say these are the login username, password are there. So normally the forms, username, password, the button, forgot your password, this is called as form, login form. So those will be placed inside a form element. Okay, all this username, password, everything will be placed under a form element. If we expand this, so all the input elements, username, password, and then buttons, everything will be displayed under, they will be right under the form element. These are all the childs of form. Okay, so normally if you want to log in, you will enter username, password, and click on login button. So instead of clicking on login button, you can use submit option also. Identify the element and use the submit method. Instead of clicking dot click, you can use dot submit. So it will submit the form. It works same like a logging into the application. Okay. So once we enter username, once we enter password, you can submit the form. And the submit where you can apply on which element? Which web element? You can think login button. No, not only login button, any element within the form. The username is also within the form, password also within the form. This submit method you can apply on any element within the form. So that will submit the form. Once we enter the username, once we enter the password, then you can use any of the element within the form and you can use submit method. It works same like logging, clicking on login button. Okay, so let us do that. I'm going to create a new class. WebElement commands example 3. So once I enter username and password, now I want to use submit. Okay. So let's say I'm going to store this in a element username. I'm removing this. Okay. I'm going to import web element from OpenGate.Selenium. This is a password. I'm removing this. And similarly, element login button. Driver dot find element by dot ID. What is the ID for login button? So this is the ID. Okay. So now I want to enter some text inside this username. So username dot send keys admin. Next password. Password dot using this send keys admin 123. Now I want to click on login button. Correct? If you want to log in. So instead of clicking on login button, if you want to use click, you have to click on login button only for sure. That is mandatory. But if you want to use submit, you can use any element within the form. It will work. You can apply submit option any element within the form. Okay. Now I want to submit the form. Once I enter username and password, I want to log into this application. Instead of clicking on login button, I want to submit the form. Okay, complete form. So I can use submit on any element. I can use login button dot submit, or else I can use password dot submit. I can use username dot submit. It works like it's same like clicking on login button only. Okay, submit in the form. I want to apply on username field. I will show you this example. Dot submit. So before entering, we don't submit. it will throw an error. Once you submit, give proper details, then you try to log in. Okay. So dot submit. Submit method submits the complete form element. Okay. Clear? Just a second, guys. I'm getting a call. Okay. So you can try the submit option on any of the web element. Okay. You can use it for on the username, password, or else login button also. You can try it out. It will work same. Let me run this and I'll close the session for today. Okay. Submit can be applied on any within the form if it is present inside the form only. Normally login form or sign up, create account forms. Okay. There are different forms available. So if it is under the form tag, all these elements are under the form tag, then you can use submit button on any of the element. Okay. So that's about the web elements. Only one thing we haven't discussed is selected that we are going to discuss about in the next sessions. Okay. Any questions? Everyone? Any questions?
No, sir, it's clear.
Okay, fine then. Okay, again we'll meet on Monday. Tomorrow is Ugadi, right? Happy Ugadi in advance. Okay.
Thank you. Same to you.
Yeah.
Thank you, same to you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks everyone. Thanks for joining the session. Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.